Hello, thanks for joining me again for this week's yoga class. Today's class is going to be a little bit faster than what we're used to. It's going to be used as a wake up, a refresh, so you can do this first thing in the morning or in the middle of the day if you're feeling tired. So first come to a comfortable seat with your hands resting gently in your lap and give me a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth to prepare you for today's movement. Inhale deeply, expanding the lungs and the stomach. And exhale through the mouth, getting rid of any negativity that you might be holding on to today. Okay, so if you're on your knees like me, come down into a simple cross-leg position. You can use a prop underneath your sitting bones if this is uncomfortable. And start to walk your right fingertips out to the side, creating a stretch down the left side of the torso. If you have space here, try to drop your elbow to the floor, but make sure that you're keeping your left hip on the floor as well. As soon as it starts coming up, back off. Lift your left arm up and over your ear and turn your head to look underneath your armpit. Come back up to seated, walk your left fingertips out, arm straight or elbow down on the floor, and bring your right arm up, over your ear, looking up towards the sky and keeping your right hip anchored to the floor. And push yourself back up to your seated position. Take your left hand and place it gently on your right knee. Right hand resting behind the spine, spiraling open into a brief twist. If it feels okay for your neck, look over your back shoulder to continue the spiral of your spine. Come back to the centre, right hand on left knee, left hand behind you, and use your hands as a lever to pull your chest open. We're only spiralling through the chest, try and keep the lower torso facing forwards. Unwind, come back to centre, and bring yourself onto your hands and knees in the tabletop position. Hands under shoulders and knees under hips. We're going to do a few cat-cows, so in your own time, start to arch your back, lift your chest and breathe in. On your exhale, push the floor away and curve your spine up towards the ceiling, repeating at your own speed, your own breath, mobilizing the spine, warming yourself up. Now staying on your hands and knees, I want you to stretch your left leg out behind you, flexing the foot strongly, right arm in front of you, turn your thumb towards the floor and try to reach back and grab the big toe edge of your foot. If you can't reach, just keep your hand and leg stretching in opposite directions. Otherwise, push the foot into the hand, open your chest strongly. You will wobble in this position, that's completely normal. And release. Knee back down to the floor, right arm up to the sky and thread it underneath the left. And you'll thread the needle pose. Bring your left hand up towards the front of the mat and spiral your chest open, continuing to breathe deeply. Push yourself back up to hands and knees. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So stretch your right leg out strongly, left arm, turn your left thumb towards the floor and reach back to grab your foot. Push the foot strongly into the hand to create that back bend or that bow pose. And look up slightly, working on keeping your balance here. Release the leg and knee down towards the floor, left arm up towards the ceiling, and thread it underneath your right. Bring your right hand to the top of the mat and stretch your chest open. Bring yourself back to your hands and knees, tuck your toes under and come into a gentle downward dog with your knees slightly bent, treading through your feet before lightly walking your feet between your hands. Coming into a loose forward fold before lightly holding on to opposite elbows with opposite hands and straightening one leg while bending the other, warming up and working through those hips. You can sway from side to side if this feels good. Start to release your hands down to the floor, continuing to gently sway back and forward on your heels and the balls of your feet, working through your neck and your shoulders, getting completely comfortable and warm before clasping your hands behind your back and stretching your knuckles down towards the floor. If you can't reach your hands at this point, that's absolutely fine. Stay in the previous stretch that we were in. Otherwise, if you like, you can grab a strap and use that. Release your hands back down to the floor and bend your knees. Roll up to a standing position, letting your head and neck come up last. With your feet hip distance apart, raise your arms up towards the sky, inhaling deeply. Exhale, swan dive to the floor. On your in-breath, bring your hands gently to your legs and stretch forward. Before you exhale, and step your left leg back into a low lunge, keeping your front knee bent deeply. Bring your arms to either side of your head, dropping strongly through the legs. Drop the hands to the floor and step your left foot forward, back into a forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins, look out to your flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, bend your legs lightly. Come back up to a standing position. And again, arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold. Keep your knees bent or straight at this point. Inhale, look out to your flat back. Exhale, step your right leg back. Drop your knee to the floor and come up into a low lunge, keeping your hips heavy and even. Bring your hands to the floor, tuck your back toes and step forward into your forward fold. Inhale, look out to your flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, bring yourself back up to standing, hands to either side of you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, look out to your flat back, fingertips on your legs or on the floor. And exhale, step your left leg back, this time keeping the knee off the floor, coming into a high lunge with your fingertips gently resting down. So this time we're going to come into a warrior 3 variation. So stepping onto your right foot, bring your left leg out straight behind you with your fingertips resting lightly on the floor. And exhale, drop your left foot next to your right foot and come into your forward fold. Inhale, come back up to stand, hands to either side of you. And repeat, inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive to the floor. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step your right leg back to a high lunge, keeping your fingertips down, your hips heavy. Stepping onto your left foot, bring your right leg up strongly behind you, fingertips resting down. You might find that this side is slightly different or the other side was slightly different. That's completely normal. I'm a lot tighter on my right hand side. And exhale, let the leg release down next to the left foot. Inhale to a flat back, exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees and come back up to standing position. Hands in prayer in front of your heart. Well done. On your next exhale, step out into a wide stance, arms out in a T position. Turn your right toes out and your left toes in. We're going to come into triangle. Push your hips to your left, your fingertips to your right, and drop your right hand either to your leg, your ankle, your toes, or the floor, spinning the chest open, left arm up to the sky, trying to keep each side of the torso even and long. And inhale, come back up to center. Going to immediately switch to the other side, so left toes out, right toes in. Stretch the hips over to the right hand side. Left fingertips to the floor, shin, ankle or toe. Right arm up towards the sky. If this is tough on your neck, you can always look down towards the floor, creating length in both sides of your torso. Breathing deeply. Come back up to center. Now toe ball heel your feet closer to each other, so just wider than your hips. You might need a little bit wider. And start to sit down into your squat position. So this is a really tough pose. If you have trouble getting your feet flat on the floor, you can prop something under the heels of your feet, or you can get a block to sit on. Just don't feel stressed if you're not as low as you want to be. That will come. Bring your hands to prayer with your elbows pushing into your knees, opening up your hips. If you want to add a twist here, walk your right hand out, your left hand up, look towards the sky. And switch to the other side. left hand out, right arm up, taking care to make sure that your knees aren't collapsing inwards. Come back to centre for just a breath or two. Bring your hands to the floor and stretch your hips up towards the sky. Move your toes in towards each other. On an exhale, just come all the way down to sit. We're going to do a brief bit of core work in boat pose. So bring your hands behind your knees. Find the tripod of your sits bones and your pelvis on the floor. So it should enable you to keep your back straight while having your feet off the floor. Lift them gently. You might like to keep your feet tucked in. Otherwise, you can lift them to this 90-degree angle, still holding onto the backs of the knees. Or if you're able to hold this, start to experiment with stretching your arms out to either side of your legs. Shoulders down, chest lifted. Well done. Hug everything in. Start to roll down onto your back. We're going to come into a brief bridge pose, just stretching out those core muscles that we've just been working. Bring your feet hip distance apart, hands pressing onto the floor, and slowly lift your hips up towards the sky, clasping your hands behind you, moving your shoulders side to side to open your chest. Push strongly with the feet, slightly lift your chin, and feel the stretch and release through your tummy muscles. Unclasp your hands and roll all the way down to the floor. Come into figure 4, so right ankle on left knee, letting the hip fall open, and if you can, reach through the legs and grab behind the left knee, or for extra stretch, you can reach in front of the left shin. Keep the feet flexed firmly. You can rock from side to side. Try encouraging your right knee out to open your hip even further. And start to release. Feet to the floor, left foot to right knee, pulling the knees towards the chest and holding either behind the thigh or in front of the right shin. And let go, drop everything down, feet on the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. We're going to come into a half happy baby. Drop your left leg to the floor, right knee in. You can stay here, or you can reach the outside of your right foot and try to pull the knee down to the right hand side of the ribs. Your challenge here is trying to keep the left hip on the floor. So if you find it's coming up or bubbling up, you can bring the ankle closer to the hip to ease some of the pressure and the tension. Try to relax your right shoulder at the same time. Release your right foot. We're going to repeat that on the left side. So bring the left knee into the chest. Stay here or reach the outside of the left foot. You can rest your right hand lightly on your right hip to encourage it down to the floor and pull your left knee in to the left side of your ribs. Release and bring both knees into the chest. Hug everything in tightly, and on your next exhale, let everything fall to the floor in your Shavasana, your final relaxation. Let your feet fall out wide, let your arms take up as much space as you like, and let go of any deep breathing that you are holding on to. Let yourself breathe naturally at this point. As always, I would recommend staying in your Shavasana, breathing lightly, relaxing and feeling the benefits of your practice for as long as you have, but at least 5 to 10 minutes is what I would usually say. if you only have the 15 minutes today, start to wake yourself up from your Shavasana. Bring your knees in, roll yourself up to a seated position. Rest your hands lightly on your knees. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope that this practice has given you the little boost of energy that you needed.